Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good day. I am Super Duper Vision. I am a random YouTuber, U.S. Navy veteran, and I watch the news normally 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I decided to get on a little bit earlier because there's a lot more videos to watch over. Thank you for being here. Anybody who's about to tune in, I hope you have a good day. We're about to watch Trump host a Rose Garden club lunch, and then he participates in a Diwali ceremony or holiday thing. Eric Adams and JD Vance, I might go through that if there's people still watching. Thank you for being here. U.S. Navy veteran, watching the news. It's 5 p.m. now, but it's normally 6 when I start. Let's get into the first video.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. What a friendly group this is. No Democrats are here, right? Well, I want to thank everybody. This has been a labor of love. You know, we took over a building that was not properly taken care of. It just wasn't. It's a very special building, and we are taking care of it. This was grass, and when you have a news conference, and this was going on for many years, but everybody would just sink into the mud. It was extremely luxurious grass, especially when it was raining, because you'd go down about 5 inches into the mud. And when we had a press conference here, all the press standing back there, they'd be cursing me. The women would be lifting up their shoes saying, "You've destroyed my shoes. This is terrible." So we got a stone that's the exact same stone and color as the White House itself, because we wanted the friendly feeling of that light color. And it reflects the sun, and it keeps you cool even in the summer. And we've had press conferences. We finished it about a month ago. This is, as you see over here, the Presidential Walk of Fame. And we had this long wall with half windows because that used to be a swimming pool on the other side of the wall. That was the swimming pool where Jackie would say, "I hear women inside." Are women inside? Quite a famous, I'm not saying anything, this was a part of a movie. And the Secret Service said, "No, ma'am, there's no women inside, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am, you're going to have to move along. But I hear women inside." "No, ma'am, you'll have to move along, ma'am." So that was the famous swimming pool. Now it's even worse. It's for the media. They covered the pool up. And now it's for the media. And I think we have a small representative group. I don't think they allowed the rest of them. I can't believe it. What happened? They're all on the other side of the wall. Can you believe it? Because this is supposed to be sort of a private event, and there is no such thing in politics as a private event. Lindsey, you learned that a long time ago, right? The great Lindsey Graham, doing fantastic. You're up 34 points, Lindsey. That's not bad, I'll tell you. It's not bad. So we did the Presidential Walk of Fame from the great George Washington all the way to, well, I think we have to rate him above me. So less than great. Less than George. Somebody went up there, they say, "You're the third best president in the United States." This was on television, third best. And they said, "Who are the first two?" "George Washington and Abraham Lincoln." And I got extremely angry at this man. You know, you can't, it's going to be tough to beat, Mr. Senator. It's going to be, John, it's going to be very tough to beat Washington and Lincoln, but we're going to give it a try, right? Hey, they didn't put out 8 wars, 9 coming, all right? We put out 8 wars, and the 9th is coming, believe it or not. So I just want to say it's great to be with you. And when we're finished, later on, we're going to have a little quick lunch, and they do great food at the White House. And this is used sometimes for evening, where we've had some incredible people for the evening, and some of the big foreign leaders have been coming. And most excitingly, on the other side, you see the fence and the wall. We're building a world-class ballroom. You know, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom here. We don't have a ballroom. We have a little cocktail area, but we don't have a ballroom. The East Room, it's called, is a very small cocktail area. It holds about 88 people if it's tight. And I said, if I do this again, I'm going to get a ballroom built, and we're putting up our own money with the government is paying for nothing. You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it, Josh. I think when I hear that sound, it reminds me of money. In this case, it reminds me of lack of money because I'm paying for it, so it's the opposite. But it's going to be one of the most beautiful ballrooms anywhere in the world, and it's going to be able to take care of tremendous things. When you have, as an example, I'm going to see President Xi in 2 weeks. I'm going over to South Korea. We're going to meet in South Korea. We're going to talk about a lot of things. They want to discuss the fact that they're paying 157% tariff. It's a little higher than they thought. And we're doing very well. I think we're going to do well in that negotiation. We've done well, as you know, with Japan, with South Korea, with Europe. The European nations got together. We made a deal. And it was all based without the tariffs. You could have never made the deal. I'll tell you what, tariffs equal national security. Remember that. Tariffs equal national security. You got to remember that. And they also equal wealth for our nation because we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in a very friendly manner, given to us by nations that used to take it from us. And they used tariffs on us. We never used it on them because we were foolish, or we were led by people that weren't business people. But it really does. It equals national security. And I wouldn't have put out, I mentioned 8 wars, 9 coming. Of the 8, 5 were based solely on trade and tariffs. India, Pakistan were going at it. 2 nuclear powers, and serious nuclear. 7 planes shot down. They were ready to go, and I called them up. I said, you go to war, and we're not doing a trade deal. And they said, well, what does one thing have to do with the other? I said, it has a lot. You're nuclear powers, and if you do it, we're not doing a trade deal. And 24 hours later, they called me, we have decided not to do it. We stopped the war. We stopped the potential disaster, a nuclear disaster, because of trade. And it's been really amazing. But the tariffs have made us a wealthy country. They've given us tremendous defense. They've given us things that we can do for other countries, very positive. But again, really, it's national security, it's national defense, and they are so important. And it's incredible that presidents, for the most part, didn't know how to use them, when to use them. If you go back, you'll see some of the presidents that were the most successful were believers in tariffs. And I even see foreign countries now that we are doing very well with taking ads. Don't go with tariffs. They're taking ads. I saw an ad last night from Canada. If I was Canada, I'd take that same ad also. But they're actually on television taking ads. But I do believe that everybody's too smart for that. We have a very, very big and important case coming up. We should win the case based on the legal merit. We should also win the case based on all of the things I just said. But we're a wealthy country again. Last week, as you know, they found $31 billion. They came to see me. Sir, we found $31 billion. They said, we don't know why. I said, was this a good find or a bad find? It was a good find. It was a plus 31. We're used to finding negative 31s, right, for the last 30 years. I said, check the tariff shelf. Well, those tariffs haven't kicked in. Yes, they did. They kicked in 2 months ago. Check it. He comes back 2 hours later. Sir, you were right. We have an additional $31 billion, billion, not million, Lindsay, billion, that we just found from tariffs. They kicked in earlier than we thought. You were right. We're a wealthy nation again, and we're a nation that can be secure. We're a nation that can start paying down our debt. And with tariffs, we're the wealthiest nation ever in the history of the world. Without them, we've got to slog. We've got to slog. But remember this, other nations, including China, Japan, European nations, they used tariffs against us for many years. That's why we owe $37 trillion. That's why. But they used tariffs very successfully against us, and we had presidents that never fought it. But now you have a president that does fight it. So I just want to welcome you to the incredible Rose Garden. It's just an incredible place. It was done. We did it, brought it back to health. It was in very bad shape, actually, and we brought it back to health. First Lady Melania did a fantastic job on it. The surrounds and everything. It's all brand new wiring. You know, underneath there's a lot of wire, a lot of things. Everything brand new, everything beautiful. The only thing we did is we had to get a hard surface here because nobody could use it because of the grass. So I just want to welcome you, and I hope you're going to be here a lot. We're going to use it for meetings. We're going to use it for press conferences. Now we can use it. It was unusable before. and now we can use it. But everything that you see was redone. All of this was redone, and the whole White House is being redone. Some of you came through they call the Rose Hall. They call it different names, but you probably noticed, I don't know if you came through this door, did you notice the white marble floor that was put there? That was made out of Home Depot tiles, about 1 foot by 1 foot. They were all broken, about 30 years old. And I replaced it with book-matched marble, paid for by your friend, President Trump. It's like, it's amazing how people like it when you say you paid for it. When I say I paid for it, they say, oh, I love it. But they did a beautiful job. They're great talents. They're very talented marble people I have. And they replaced it with beautiful Paradiso marble and statuary marble. And it's really, really beautiful. I want to thank the outstanding leadership team, and you really do have that. Majority Leader John Thune, who's been my friend. He really, really has done an amazing job. Thank you, John. Thank you. Done an amazing job. I didn't get to know John as well in the first term, and I've gotten to know him very well over the last 9 months, John, and you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Really great. Majority Whip John Barrasso, who's outstanding man. Thank you, John. Thank you. Great guy, too. Conference Chair Tom Cotton. He loves that military. He loves the he loves the military. Policy Committee Chair Shelley Moore Capito. Shelley, thank you very much, Shelley. Vice Chair James Lankford. Very good. James, thank you. And you know, we have everybody but one person here. You know, everybody showed up. I figured you'd have I'd say 40 would have been a good number, right? We have everybody. We're just missing one person. You'll never guess who that is. Let me give you, he automatically votes no on everything. He thinks it's good politics. It's really not good politics. He's an automatic no. But I don't know. Look, if he wanted to come, I'd probably let him come, right? I'd let him come. Begrudgingly, but would let him come. And National Republican Senatorial Committee Chair, an unbelievable guy, Tim Scott. You know, Tim, I shouldn't say it because it's so, I don't know if it's good or bad. But Tim ran, and he was very effective and very good. But he was on the debate stage and everything else, he was good just because he's good. But he wasn't as good as they thought he was. And when he got out of the race, he endorsed me almost immediately. And I used him as a surrogate. And I wasn't sure if I should because, you know, sometimes I want a total lunatic to get up and fight for me. And Tim is a really good person. So I wasn't sure. And I put him on the stage, and he ripped the heart out of everybody. He was so brutal. He was so unbelievable. It turned out to be absolutely one of my best surrogates. And it includes a lot of you people that were here. You were all surrogates. But Tim ripped these people apart. And after watching 2 or 3 times, then I wanted him all the time, right, Susie? I said, I want Tim Scott, get up there. But he was so good. And I said to him, Tim, when you fought for yourself, you were much different. When you fought for me, you were a tiger. You were like unstoppable. You were, really was. You all saw that. What's the difference? He said, I've never liked selling myself, and I love selling somebody that I really do believe in. I really believe in you, and I just felt that way. And it was so nice the way he expressed it. And I want to tell you, you are a champion. You are a winner, and congratulations. Thank you very much. I never love telling that story because I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad story, but I'm telling you, you are an amazing guy, and you fought for me so hard, and I really appreciate it. You got to be my #1 choice, Tim, so something happened. I appreciate it, and you're doing great doing what you're doing right now. I also want to thank the entire Senate Republican Conference for your tremendous work on confirmations. Boy, did we have a couple of weeks, huh? We had some, I signed like 150 of them, and I didn't use an auto pen, by the way. I signed. You know, when you're signing these important, like a general getting approved from 3-star to 4-star and all of these different things and big confirmations and, you know, big stuff, you really have an obligation to actually sign it, I think. You probably noticed right there, number 46, we put up, right? We put up a little bit of an auto pen. We have 46. We have 45. We have 47. It's very interesting. Yeah, 46 is an auto pen. It's up there. it stays up there. People like it. It's probably going to stay up there for a long time. It's true. And I know you're looking into that. And by the way, the auto pen person said he never spoke to Biden. He worked the auto pen. You're not allowed to do that. So if you're looking at anything, just remember it. And remember, they treated us very badly. They treated us very, very badly. So I think you're allowed to just report the truth, including the confirming of my cabinet much faster than first time. I mean, we went so fast, and I give John Thune and all of you credit for that. It was amazing. All of a sudden, I was calling John, I've got to get him approved. Come on, John, because I was getting like one every 2 weeks. And I have people, they left their job and they left everything, and it looked like they were. All of a sudden, it was like an avalanche. They walked in, James and James, my double James, I call them. They walk in, and they had like so many of them. I said, you got to be kidding. Is this like, are you for real, right, James? John Thune did his job, and you got them all done, and you have all those people out there working now, and instead of being very upset with the fact that we couldn't get them approved quickly. So I really appreciate it. You used a method that I wish you could use on U.S. attorneys. I have 10 U.S. attorneys who are phenomenal. A Harvard, a Yale, a this, a that, all top. And the problem is they're not going to ever be confirmed, I guess. I put them in. They'll be there for 3 or 4 months, whatever it's, and then they have to leave. Because anytime you have, as you know, anytime you have a Democrat senator, not even two, just one, they'll say because of the time we're in, we're not approving that person. We're not approving. They never do. They won't approve. And therefore, because of blue slip, I have to tell the person after 3 months, I'm sorry, you'll have to leave. And I put somebody else in. And I've had Democrat senators say the only one we'll ever approve is a Democrat. This is not constitutional. And I hope you can look at that blue slip thing, because I have 10 people that are phenomenal, and they're going to have to leave office. Highly educated, top of their class, everything. And they're going to have a mark on their career that they were a U.S. attorney for 3 months or 4 months, and then they had to leave. And that's so unfair. It's unfair to the public, because the public voted for me in a landslide, and I'm supposed to be picking the U.S. attorneys. And this goes for judges also. But actually more so even for the U.S. attorney with the blue slip. So I have these phenomenal people, many of them young, but truly fantastic people. And they're wondering what's going to happen in another 3, 4, 5 weeks. They're going to have to leave office. I think it's a shame, and I hope you can do something about it, because I'd like to tell those people, we put you there, and you're not going to have on your resume for the rest of your life, you were there for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and you left like you got canned. So I hope you look at that. Very important. And after your pivotal changes to the Senate rules last month, as a result, this is what you did, the unprecedented obstruction by the Democrats. We've confirmed more than 175 public servants, people that are phenomenal, to keep posts. And that's just been over the last couple of weeks. It's an unbelievable thing what you've done, John, all of you together. So working closely with me and House Majority, the Republican Senate also gave us the largest working class tax cut in American history. And you passed the Laken Riley Act to throw illegal alien criminals out of our country. You passed the Genius Act and the Take It Down Act with the support of our wonderful First Lady. By the way, she got actual support from the other side. It was bipartisan. I think Rand didn't vote for it again, but I think it was only Rand. You had bipartisan support other than maybe Rand. But another one I'm going to ask you to vote for, and it's in the House now, and I hear it's doing well in the House, James. It's Kate's Law. A young lady named Kate Steinle, I remember it so well, probably 8 or 10 years ago now, in San Francisco. She was holding hands with her father on the San Francisco pier, looking out into the water. It's beautiful, everything was beautiful, but the person wasn't beautiful that did this. And this was an illegal alien that came into our country 5 times, was thrown out 4 or 5 times, I don't even know, but a lot, and came back and shot her through the head. And she went down and she looked at her father, Daddy, Daddy, something happened, and she immediately passed away in his arm. And, I mean, you can imagine, it was so sad, such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. Father was destroyed, you know, virtually destroyed. And they they wanted to pass what they call Kate's Law, and it's now again in Congress, and I hear we're going to get it passed in Congress, and when it gets up to the Senate, I hope you guys can pass it. And basically, very simply, it says that if you're an illegal alien and you come in and you get thrown out, if you come back and get caught, you have to spend 10 years in jail. Very simple. Very simple. If they would have had that, Kate Steinle would be alive today. That was a big event at the time. If you remember Bill O'Reilly, for those of you that like Bill, I think I like Bill, but he was the one, he devoted his life to that law, trying to get it passed. I think it's time that we pass it so that if you get taken out of the country and you come back illegally, knowing that this law is in existence, you go to jail for a 10-year period, and it's going to keep the repeat offenders from coming in. It's going to really keep them from coming in. Senate Republicans have already voted 11 times to get our government back and open for business. We have record business. We're going to be, I think, by the time I hit month number 12, I think we're going to have $20 trillion of investment. We're over 17 right now. As an example, President Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're going to have $20 trillion in less than 12 months, and we're over 17 trillion right now. So it's the largest amount in our country by far, by many times. That's in our country. But here's the one. It's the largest amount in the history of the world. There's never been a country that's had anywhere near 17, or it will be 20, and it's going up fast. A lot of it's because of tariffs, because they're coming in because they don't want to pay tariffs. In other words, they make their product in a certain country, and they used to just send it in here, and there was no charge, absolutely. Now, if they have to pay a 20%, 30%, 50%, 100%, or 2% tariff, they say, well, it's better if I build my plant in the United States. It always amazed me I did this first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country in first term. We had COVID, and we did a good job with that. That was a curse for every country in the world. It was terrible. But we had the greatest economy we ever had. But if you remember, I started the tariffs, but I held it off because it wouldn't have exactly been good at the time to tell France, you know what they were going through, you know what Spain was going through and Italy was going through, that, by the way, we're going to charge you tariffs. But I had started the process. We were going, the country was doing good, and I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. I put the full tariffs on China. Biden left the tariffs because he couldn't, it was too much money, but they gave so many exceptions that they were essentially meaningless. In other words, here's the tariffs, but you don't have to pay if you look at somebody the wrong way. You don't have to pay. So they didn't pay very much. But with me, they were paying hundreds of billions of dollars. And again, I have a great relationship with President Xi. I expect to be able to make a good deal with him, and I want him to make a good deal for China, but it's got to be fair. For years, they were making $500, $600, $700 billion. $700 billion, and we'd be making nothing. It was a one-sided, honestly, we built their military. We built China's military with the money that we lost for so many years getting ripped off. So now we're going to have a fair deal. I think we're going to have a very successful meeting. Certainly there are a lot of people that are waiting for it. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it won't happen. Things can happen where, for instance, maybe somebody will say, I don't want to meet, it's too nasty. But it's really not nasty, it's just business, and we're gonna do a good job representing you people and representing the people of our country. Unfortunately, in a craven and pointless act of partisan spite, Chuck Schumer, who I've known for a long time, and the radical left Democrats are holding the entire federal government hostage to appease the extremists in their party. And they are extreme. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's They're extreme. And you know what? We had a landslide election. We won the popular vote by a lot. We won the swing states, all 7. Remember, they said, oh, if Trump could get 3 swing states, he'd be. And, well, I didn't get 3. I got 7. We got all 7 by a lot, by record numbers. We won the Electoral College, 312 votes. They said it's very hard for a Republican. It's harder for a Republican, although now I think we've swapped it. I think it's now harder for a Democrat, because if you see what we've done with the Hispanics, with the black workers and black men, and recently a poll came out with black men and women were doing so well. You know, they want security. They don't want to have their city destroyed. Women in Chicago, beautiful black women walking around with red MAGA hats because they don't want to be mugged and shot and everything else. And then you see a Democrat get up and tell you how safe it is in Chicago. Do you know they've had, in a fairly short period of time, 4,000 murders? This is over a short period of time, 4,000 murders. And they had a holiday where they had 28 people killed and almost 100 shot. And then you listen to this guy, Pritzker. I've known the family for a long time. They threw him out because he was no good, and he became governor. He's got money through the family. He's got money through the family. But they threw him out. He became governor. I said, I wonder how he's going to do. It's a crime palace. It's a shame. And you know what we did in D.C. is unbelievable. You people, you can walk down the middle of the street, Mr. Senator. You can walk down. You can have your wife meet you at the restaurant, and she's not going to be accosted, shot, beat up, raped. It's unbelievable how bad it was. It was one of the worst in the country, and now it's stone cold. I don't say the word perfect, but it's pretty damn close. And, you know, they would average more than a murder a week in Washington, D.C. This is just before we got here, a murder a week. Think of that. The capital of, in my opinion, the capital of the world. They come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come from Florida. You call up the parents, I'm sorry, sir, your son has been shot and killed. We have no crime here now. We have no crime. And the National Guard has been unbelievable, the job. Unbelievable. And you know, it also looks better. I do a tour. I hop in that beast. I feel very safe in the beast. The windows are this thick. But I hop in the beast and I tell the Secret Service, let's drive around town. I used to do that myself. I could drive myself around. I actually like that better. But now I don't think it's a good idea. But we drive around in the streets. The place is looking the grass is good. The fences are down. There's no tents. There's no anything. We are looking like it's just a whole new look. And the most important thing, there's no crime. And we're going to fix the roads. We have great pavers. We're going to fix the medians in between the roads, which half of them are falling down. We're going to take some of the tiles off the bridges, the tunnels that you have. They've been up for 40 years. They're rotted. And we'll put up brand new, gorgeous white tiles like it's supposed to be. But this place is looking really good. And we haven't even started the real fixing up of the town. We're getting rid of the graffiti. You notice there's almost no graffiti anymore. A lot of that beautiful statuary marble had red graffiti all over it, had bad signs up, and it stopped. We've taken out 1,700 career criminals and people that came in through an open border. They came in through Biden's open border, and we've taken them out. The thing having to do with all of the elements in the great, big, beautiful bill, I'll tell you, it's amazing what we've done. $200 billion in costs for medical. What we've done, $50 billion for rural hospitals. And remember, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on... Think of all of these things that we've done. This is the biggest, this is the greatest bill. Social Security, no tax on overtime. But no tax on tips. I got that from a waitress in Nevada. I was making a speech, and I'm at one of my restaurants in the hotel I own there, and I say, how are you doing? Well, sir, it's terrible. They're taxing my tips. They're going, I wouldn't have even thought that. And I looked at it, and she said to me, sir, there should be no tax on tips. I said, say it one time more. No tax on tips. I walked outside to the press. I said, there will be no tax on tips. She was right. And We won that state by a lot. That's not a state that we win by that much, David, but we won it by a lot. So it was pretty good. But that bill is chock full of so many different things. So it was the biggest bill. I'm actually saying this to the fake news so that they maybe print it, but maybe not, because you people know. It was the biggest bill ever passed in Congress. And what we did was a little risky. We put everything into the bill, John, right? And some people were against it. They said, no, you got to do small bites. And we gave it a shot, and we got it passed. I got a call from John. He said, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Sir, we have 4 hard no's. Could you please call him? I said, what time is it, John? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, sir. So I call up. One of you is sitting right here. I said, Jim, could I say hello to you? It's 4 o'clock in the morning, right? He said, sir, you have my vote. I said, wow. Then I called up another person. I'll use fictitious names. Doug, could I get your vote? You've got it, sir. Then I called up another one. How about Josh? Could I have your vote, Josh? Because I like Josh. And Josh, who can be very difficult, said, sir, you have my vote. His wife was screaming at him on the other side. Sir, you have my vote. But I called people. And they weren't really hard-nosed. They wanted a little attention, unfortunately, at 4 in the morning. Sometimes I like the ones that don't like the attention, but we'll take it anywhere we can. And we got it passed, right, John? And nobody thought that could happen because you have a small majority. And in the how about in the House, we had a majority of 3. We actually went down after that for a period of about 2 months. We went down to a majority in the House of 1. And I kept saying, you know, because I'll tell you, Mike Johnson's great. The team, these 2 teams, did you ever see 2 people more different? One's tall, one's slightly less tall. We want to be polite. They are very different people, but they're the same in terms of talent. They did the 2 guys, and they get along incredibly well. We all do. We get along great. But we passed a bill. We don't need to pass any more bills. We got everything in that bill. There's nothing else we have to put. We got the largest tax cuts in history. We got the extension of the Trump tax cuts. We got all of these things. And, you know, remember, they lie. They will look at I saw it the other day, they were talking about, I call it the great big beautiful bill, but that's what it is, the great big beautiful, the biggest bill ever passed. And what they say, they make up stories. And I saw they were interviewing a senator, and they said, well, what's wrong with their bill? He didn't know what to say, because there's nothing he could say. It covers everything. He said, death. Death. It brings death. Now, if I'm a regular person and I hear that, I say, oh, that's terrible. But it's just the opposite. It brings life. It brings Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. It secures all those things. And they just are so bad. You know, they said death. It was like, death, and there's nothing about death. Theirs is death, because they're going to lose Medicaid, they're going to lose Social Security, they're going to lose Medicare. All of those things are going to be gone because the whole country would be bankrupt, and you're not going to have any kind of medical insurance. So with us, it's the opposite. And it's a great bill. We don't need any more. And I want to just say from the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've never done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean, bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number, but even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything. Car plants are pouring back into our country. AI plants, we're leading. We're dominating China right now in AI. And I did something that I think you'd like, because we have an old grid. It's a tired grid. It doesn't have the juice that you need to fire up these plants. You know, these plants will need more than double the energy we have right now for the whole country. That's how big it is. And we can't do that. There's no way we can do that. China's building right now 52 power stations. But I did something better. I'm letting everybody build their own power plant so they'll become like an electric utility in addition to AI. But if they want to build their own plant and we get their approvals within less than a month, it used to take 5 years prior to rejection. Sometimes a guy in Louisiana, they had one that took 12 years, and then they got rejected. I got it approved in 2 weeks when I got into office. That was the first term. And the plant is up now, and it's been a great thing for the state. I did it twice, actually. I got 2 of them that were dead after 12 years, and I got them approved, both of them, in less than a week. And that's what we're doing. Lee Zeldin, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job, Environmental Commission, I have to tell you. He knows that we have to get them fast, and we're getting them fast. So we're leading China in the AI race by a lot. Under Biden, Democrats voted 13 times for continuing resolutions to keep the government open. And all we want is simply to ask them to do it once again. They always voted for it. They never voted against it. Nobody votes against it. But they do that, and they do. It's partially my fault. I mean, I'm watching you, and I'm looking at all these great faces that I've seen, really great people. I think with few exceptions, a couple of you I don't like that much, but with few exceptions, great people. And you look at what they do, and you look at the game they play, and it's a horrible game. And, you know, we have the hottest country ever. This is the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I say this, I'm sure you've heard me say it, but I was over in the Middle East, and the King of Saudi Arabia and others also said essentially the same thing. They said, you know, President, a year and a half ago, your country was dead. We never thought we'd see this. And right now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We do. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world, which tells you about leadership, and that includes your leadership. So as you know, my door is always open to anyone. It's not like that AOC. How about her, where she said, she's talking about having rebellions and everything. She said, well, my door is always open. But she's not the leader. I'm sure the leaders felt very nicely about when she said her door is open. Who the hell wants to go into her door anyway? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's the one that started. You know, I remember, I'll never forget, she never took a course on the environment. And I watched her one day, and she was on television. She said, yes, our planet will be dead within 12 years. That was a long time ago. Our planet was supposed to be dead. Remember the 12-year theory? We were environmentally dead. Now, these people, they've got an agenda that nobody quite understands. The good news is they don't understand it either. They really have no idea. But the people do. The people understand. We're giving you the biggest tax cuts in history. All of these things, it all adds up that we should do fantastically well in the midterm. The only thing wrong with the midterms is that statistically, when you look, a president gets elected, and for some reason, and nobody, even the great John Thune, cannot explain to me, for some reason, even if he's a reasonably good president, and we've had success like nobody, but for some reason, you lose the midterms. I don't know why. I mean, the odds are tremendously against, like 92% or something. It doesn't make sense. If you have a great presidency, it only makes sense that you win the midterm. So there should be no reason for it. Somebody's going to explain there might be some dark, deep psychological reason where they want to vote the opposite way. I don't know what it is, but we have to win the midterms. Otherwise, all of the things that we've done, so many of them are going to be taken away by the radical left lunatics. I mean, we're going to end up with a communist mayor in New York. Can you believe it? A communist. Remember, I would always say, we will not have a socialist elected in our country. Remember, I'd say that all the time. And I was right. We skipped socialists. We got a communist elected. So I didn't tell a lie. I didn't tell a lie. I was right. We'll have a communist, not a socialist. But we've already seen the impacts of the dangerous game that they're playing. Democrats are causing delays in our air traffic control system. So important. We wouldn't have had, you know, this Pete Buttigieg, he spent billions of dollars on fixing the air traffic control that used copper wire going into glass wire. Any union electrician here or any non-union electrician would say you can't hook copper into glass. It doesn't work. They spent billions of dollars. They turned on the system, and it was stone cold blank. We're getting a brand new system. We have bids out now. We have 3 great companies bidding. And I want one bid. Sean Duffy's doing terrifically. I want one bid. I want just bid, and they're responsible for everything. Not where they had like 1,000 contractors. Every contractor, they were all running around. in the end, if one of them does a bad job, we want to be able to blame somebody, and it's going to be one of the very big companies because there's a lot of interest in it. So the air traffic control system is going to be rebuilt. Over 1 million federal workers right now, as you know, are going unpaid. That's the Democrats' fault. And children, tourists, unable to visit the museums in Washington, D.C., that we now have beautiful, safe streets, but we don't have the museums open. We should probably just open them. But we are doing things that nobody's ever done, nobody's ever seen. So all of this and the pain that the Democrats have caused during this reckless and completely unnecessary affair, and you could call it the Schumer shutdown or the Democrat shutdown, you can call it whatever you want. And I will say this, that we have Darth Vader. You know Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is a man who, I think he's sitting right. Is that Darth? Stand up, please, Darth Vader. Stand up. Does everybody know? They call him Darth Vader. I call him a fine man. But he's cutting Democrat priorities, and they're never going to get him back. And they've caused us, and they've really allowed us to do it. And by the way, thank you. You're doing a great job, I have to tell you. So really a great job. Because many of the things that they're cutting, like the New York project, $20 billion, we're cutting it. They're not going to get it back. I mean, they're not going to get a lot of things back. They may not get it back. Maybe we'll talk to them about it. But they're losing all the things that they wanted. But many of the things that they wanted are things that we don't want. The things that are just so bad for our country. And we're cutting those things out. So while they thought they were doing maybe bad, maybe indirectly they're doing good. The cynical comment that they've made all over the place, and all of their cynical remarks proves beyond all doubt that Schumer is a calculating political partisan, but we knew that. But he's somebody that's in deep trouble. He's losing in all of the polls. He's even losing to AOC plus 3. Remember plus 3? What happened to the plus 3? Are they still around? I had one. I met when I was at the United Nations, I met the president of Somalia. And I said, I have somebody I'd like to give back to you. He said, no, thanks. We don't want her. He didn't want anything to do with her. But today I'm calling on every Senate Democrat to stop the madness, to let our country get back. In the greatest moment in the history of our country in terms of wealth, in terms of job creation, and in terms of investment coming in, these guys go on strike. It's really a shame. So I'm asking them to be smart. It's not working. They're getting killed in the polls. The public understands what they're doing. They're doing the wrong thing. And with that, I just want to say welcome to the White House. When we're finished, they do a great job. When they're finished, we're going to all come in. It'll be a little crowded, but that's okay. Into the Oval Office, we'll talk a little bit, a couple of minutes. Got some interesting things. And I think I'd like to have, if I could, John come up and say a few words, and we can close it out. And by the way, this is an open mic. It's open to the world. I think they can hear me out on the street. If anybody wants to come up and say after John, say it. We're all friends, and you can speak your heart out. But we've got to get our government open, and the Democrats are trying to keep it closed. Thank you. John, please.
Thank you, man. Thank you, sir. Well, Mr. President, thank you for having us. This is the 4th week of the Democrat shutdown, but we are all here today because your Republican team in the Senate is unified. This is now the longest full shutdown in history, but everybody here has voted now 11 different times to open up the government, and we are going to keep voting to open up the government, and eventually the Democrats, hopefully sooner or later, are going to come around. But Mr. President, your agenda is the right one for this country. This is your team. We are your partners in achieving and implementing the agenda that you campaigned on and the American people voted for. And you just mentioned it has been a series of promises made and promises kept, whether it's national security, whether it's the border, whether it's the economy, taxes, regulations, energy, Trump newborn accounts, school choice. You look at what we've accomplished so far. It is a remarkable, remarkable team and a record of accomplishment that can't be matched. And I would argue, at least in my time here, but perhaps in all of history. So thank you for your leadership, and we will continue to be good partners and work with you to get the work done for the American people. And let's hope that the Democrats get wise and starting perhaps even today, vote to reopen the government so we can get back to work for the American people. Mr. President, thank you for having us at your home. You have beautiful homes, and thank you for everything you're doing to make this such a beautiful place. This is America's house. We're delighted to be here. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate you guys for being here. I am just a random YouTuber, a U.S. Navy veteran that watches the news normally at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I decided to get on a little bit earlier to knock out a few videos. I appreciate you guys for being here. I like to have a mix of Republican and Democrat talking points, but Trump happened to do another speech. Let's get into that speech right now. I appreciate everybody that is in the chat right now. Let's get into it.
What a wonderful culture and what a wonderful group of people. Thank you very much for coming. It's really nice. Thank you. Come on, I'll slide over here. For the media, I will tell you, this is a serious group of people. Right? That's great. Thank you very much. Look at all of it. Wow, look at the people. Huh? Seriously, the biggest business people anywhere in the world, so I think it's a great tribute. Whatever they're teaching you well, right? Thank you very much. You're welcome to the White House as we celebrate Diwali, because they said there has to be a very heavy emphasis on the V, Diwali, the beautiful Hindu festival of lights, and that's what it is. It's a great festival and it's amazing people. I'm pleased to be joined by the Director of the National Intelligence and a woman that's done a fantastic job, Tulsi Gabbard, wherever you may be, Tulsi. Hi, Tulsi. FBI Director Kash Patel, who's really hitting his stride. Kash, where's Kash?
Right.
He is hitting his stride. That's the way we like it. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon. Harmeet.
Right here, sir.
Hi, Harmeet. And Pastor Paula White. She's been fantastic. She's been with us right from the beginning. We're greatly honored to be joined by the Indian Ambassador to the United States, Vinay Quatru. And it's very nice. You pronounce it perfectly. Ah, that's right. Oh, I wasn't too far off there. And his wonderful wife. And thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you. As well as our new ambassador to India. This is a nice, easy name, Sergio Gore. Sergio, congratulations, Sergio. You're going to do a fantastic job. And thanks as well to incredible Indian American business leaders, the biggest in the world, really. If you look at these companies, what they've done, the biggest in the world. CEO of IBM, Arvind Krishna, and Arvind, congratulations. I know you're working hard on a couple of jobs that I'm watching, and good luck with them, right? Yes. Good luck. It's amazing what you've done. Chairman and CEO of Adobe, and that Adobe is big stuff, and that's Shantanu Narayan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shantanu. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. CEO of Micron Technology, we know what that is, Sanjay Marotta. Sanjay, nice to see you again. And CEO of Palo Alto Networks, Nikesh Arora. And I want to thank you very much for great success. It's a hell of a group of people. And in addition to that, we have a lot of other tremendously successful people gathered. On behalf of all Americans, let me also extend our warmest wishes to the people of India. I just spoke to your Prime Minister today. We had a great conversation. We talk about trade, we talk about a lot of things, but mostly the world of trade. He's very interested in that. Although we did talk a little while ago about let's have no wars with Pakistan. And I think the fact that trade was involved, I was able to talk about that. And we have no war with Pakistan and India, and that was a very, very good thing. But he's a great person, and he's become a great friend of mine over the years. In a few moments, we'll light the Diya as a symbol of faith in the victory of light over darkness. It's a beautiful term, light over darkness. That's what it's all about. It's knowledge over ignorance and good over evil. During Diwali, revelers recall ancient stories of enemies defeated, obstacles removed, and captives freed. The glow of the Diyah flame reminds us to seek the path of wisdom and to work with diligence and to always give thanks for our many blessings. And we do have many blessings. Everybody in this room has many blessings. And even I will say, I'm not going to use the word fake news. I refuse to use it. Media has some good blessings. One of the blessings is that you didn't have to stand in the mud outside anymore. You know, you now have a beautiful stone surface, the identical color of the White House. For years they had to stand when we had press conference in the mud because it was grass, and I decided to take care of that, so I think they appreciate it. As we look back in the past year and really look up to the next number of years and hopefully decades and centuries, we've got much to be thankful for. And think of it, a year ago we were a dead country. This country was a dead country, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. These guys can testify to that because I know this. I watch their stock prices, and they're like rocket ships, right? Do they ever stop? Let's keep it that way, right? Let's not talk about it, right? Let's just keep it that way. It's amazing. We have more than $17 trillion. They're part of the reason. More than $17 trillion of investment pouring into the United States. It's going to be, I believe, over $20 trillion by the time the year's up. And as an example, the last administration, less than $1 trillion in a period of their 4-year period. They had less than $1 trillion. We're going to have 20 trillion. We have over 17 trillion already. That's investment coming in. And I think it's largely for two reasons. We had a good election on November 5th. But maybe more importantly, of course, it wouldn't happen if that election result didn't happen. I think much more importantly, we have tariffs that you build in the United States, you don't have a tariff to pay. You build outside and you have to pay a tariff. And we're taking in money at a level that no other country has ever seen. There's never been a country, I don't think, fellas, you agree with that? There's never been a country with an investment in less than a year, actually to be exact, less than 9 months, of $17 trillion, right? And I know you're all participating, aren't you, huh? So that's really good stuff. The economy is roaring, the incomes are rising, and small business confidence is at the highest level in over a decade. So the confidence levels, which means something, they think over the last 10 years, I don't think they go beyond that. We have the highest level of confidence in our economy. Gasoline prices are way down. Grocery prices are way down. Energy prices are way down. Mortgage rates are down. We have a real stiff at the Federal Reserve. I can't help that. But he's going to be leaving soon. And inflation has been defeated. But even though his rates are too high, the economy has been amazing. Our border is secure, totally secure. We had nobody in the last 4 months coming through illegally, which is actually hard to believe because, they give me those numbers, but essentially it would be just about nobody. They actually say zero. That's actually hard to believe. You have zero when you had millions pouring across a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, but we have it down to practically nobody. And they are coming in, but they're coming in legally. And we're forging peace all over the world. We're putting America first. We're getting everybody to sort of get along. And I just got a call from the Middle East. We're doing very well there. We have many, many countries, as you know, signed on to peace in the Middle East, and nobody thought they'd ever see that happening. The Hamas situation, where they're pretty violent people, I would say, that we could put that out in 2 minutes. We're giving them a chance. They agreed that they'd be very good, very straight. They wouldn't be killing people, and they have killed people. That wasn't the deal we made, but if they don't honor the deal, they'll be taken care of very quickly, but I'd rather not have to do that. But we have total peace in the Middle East. We have levels of friendship with everybody, and every countries that hated each other now love each other. Nobody ever saw anything like it. I think you guys are pretty surprised over here, right? You're surprised, but a lot of people are surprised. Are you guys surprised? Peace in the Middle East. You've been hearing about it for as long as you've been alive, and it's been a lot longer than that. You're still pretty young, but we have peace in the Middle East, and so as we light the Diyah, we look forward to a new year and a greater peace and a greater everything for all of us. And we want tremendous success, tremendous health. We're doing a lot of things in the world of health, and the autism situation is is just crazy when you think of it. And you go back 20 years, it was 1 in 20,000, and now it's 1 in 12. Is that hard to believe? When I hear that number, it's not even believable. And we think we're onto it. Bobby is doing a great job, and Dr. Oz, all of them, they're really working hard. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. And it's been a very important factor for me. I just say you got to focus on that. We think we have a lot of the answers. We've announced a lot of the answers, actually. But we're looking at many things. We've made tremendous progress. And maybe the thing we've done the best on is prices for our drugs. We have favored nations now, where other nations, as you know, were paying a small fraction of what we were paying. And this was, for many, many years, this was happening. This was set up 30 years ago, where we were paying 10 times more, 12 times more, 5 times more, always tremendous numbers more. And I said, we're not doing that anymore. And the drug companies have agreed, and the countries have agreed. Now, if I didn't have tariffs, I wouldn't have been able to get it. I said, well, if you don't agree, we're going to charge you tariffs for more than the equivalent amount. And amazingly, everybody agreed. So our drug prices are going to be coming down 100%, 200%, 300, 400, 500% in some cases. A pill that cost $10 in London would cost $120 in, think of it, $120 in New York or any place in this country. A drug that cost $86 in Berlin cost $1,300 in New York and throughout the United States. So we're not doing that anymore. So we're just not doing it anymore. So I just want to, and I think that's going to be huge for our anything, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, anything having to do with health, because the drug prices are going to be coming down. And I tell the story of my last administration, my 4th year. I was so honored because I brought drug prices down. The first time in 28 years, prices were brought down by a certain amount. I'll tell you what the amount was in a second, but by a certain amount. And so at the beginning of the year to the end of the year, I actually brought them down. First time in 28 years that happened. And the number was 1/8 of 1%. That's all I say. But I was proud because first time it ever happened. And now I'm bringing prices down 600%, 700%, 900%, 200%. So I can't believe I actually had a news conference to celebrate 1/8 and 1/4 of 1%. But that was, you learned, right? Yeah. So we're doing, and you guys know more about favored nations than anybody. So we're going favored nations, we're demanding it, and we've got it. And as you know, we had Pfizer, we had the big companies, they were all agreed or close to agreeing, but the countries have agreed to. Actually, the countries would be generally more difficult. If we didn't have the power of tariffs, they wouldn't have agreed. They would have said, nope, you got to pay 10 times more than we're paying. We were paying 10 and 12 times more than other countries for the exact same pill made in the exact same lab or factory. So it's an amazing thing. I think it's an absolute game changer. Nobody's ever even heard of a thing like that. And you'll see the results over the next year and a half, and I think it's great. So I'd like to ask a person who's really been fantastic. We'll ask a few of the people to say a few words. You're on international television, so don't get nervous. Cash, would you say a few words, please? You've done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be a first-generation Indian American whose parents lawfully immigrated to this country. And under your leadership, so many more millions of Americans are living that dream. And to celebrate it here in the Oval Office on Diwali, which you said rightfully so, is a triumph of good over evil. It's just an incredible honor. It's incredibly humbling. Indian Americans around the world and Indians around the world are thrilled that you are such a profound leader in sharing this diversity with the world. And we can't thank you enough, and happy Diwali.
Good. Well, thank you, and congratulations on everything. And how about a great company, IBM? He's taken this company from, it was a little troubled, as I remember, a few years ago, like 10 years ago, to being one of the hottest companies anywhere in the world. Arvind, could you say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. President. In the spirit of Diwali, we should also acknowledge all that the President and the administration is doing to really boost technology, innovation, and that leading to economic growth. I want to point out, people forget often how much public and private partnerships in the United States have mattered to boost technology. You look at semiconductors, you look at space, you look at the internet, mobile, and hopefully quantum down the road. So, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you for all that you're doing to boost our technology leadership.
Well, you have done amazingly, and I just think it's incredible. I know exactly what you've been through, because it was a troubled company until you came along, and you made it very untroubled. You made it a rocket ship, so I congratulate you. Thank you, Arvind, very much. We have a very, very great company, Adobe, and Shanta, could you say maybe a few words, please?
Sure. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you very
President.
much.
And first, it's such an honor, to be here in the Oval Office and to celebrate Diwali, which for all of us growing up, as you pointed out, was, the victory over triumph over evil, light over darkness. I think what you're doing, Mr. President, to have peace and prosperity and investment in this country is just amazing. And as a company, I think hopefully everybody here is using Photoshop in order to, take all these pictures. But I would really like to thank you for your leadership, and we will continue to invest in the U.S. to make sure that we continue to drive innovation.
And your investment's been very large. So how much have you invested, and do you plan to invest in the U.S.?
As far as our investment is concerned, it's all intellectual property, it's people, so we make everything here, so that's the software.
That's good.
And so we're a $20 billion revenue company now, we're one of the largest software companies in the world, and headquarters is Silicon Valley. So thank you,
That's
Mr.
very
President.
good. Fantastic job. How much are you investing, IBM?
$150 billion over the next 5 years.
150 billion, that's good. Micron's doing pretty good. How's Micron doing? Okay, pretty good.
Mr. President, really a great honor to be here today celebrating Diwali with these excellent peers of ours from the tech industry. And Diwali stands for light, hope, renewal. And the United States is light to the rest of the world. And particularly on the renewal piece, I just want to really applaud you and your team in terms of bringing Renaissance semiconductor manufacturing here to the U.S. So Micron is investing $200 billion,
$200 billion.
$200 billion in leading edge memory manufacturing, and in the course of next few years, we'll have 40% of our manufacturing here in the U.S. And this will add, over the course of years, 90,000 jobs and $1.5 trillion impact to the economy. So we are very thankful to the support that we get from your team and Mr. President, from you, in terms of bringing memory here to the U.S. And memory is key with AI today, right?
Yeah. You always talk about memory. I have a good memory. Those machines have a better memory, right? No matter what you do.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic, really fantastic. Nikesh, Palo Alto is a hot one. And tell me about that. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, thank you for having me here, and it's a pleasure and honor to be
Great
here
honor.
to celebrate Diwali with you. As my colleagues have said, this is a triumph of good over evil and prosperity, and what you've done the last 9 months in terms of making the United States one of the most business-friendly administrations and allowing us all an opportunity to invest, not just in technology but in our people, is just amazing. We are now the largest cybersecurity company in the world, and we just recently
that's good.
recently spent $25 billion in sourcing technology. So all cyber security is made in the United States, because we believe that the next bastion in the world is going to be cyber war, and we just want to make sure we are prepared as a country and really show off our companies and our critical infrastructure.
Fantastic job. It's amazing what you've done. And all of these people, to me, they mean two things. Big investment, but the big investment I like because of jobs. It's a tremendous number of jobs that they've produced. Would you say a couple of things about your great company, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm with Stone Point Capital, private equity, which I'm sure you know, and we just raised a new $11.5 billion fund, and we obviously invest very heavily in financial services technology, and so it's actually an honor to be here in the Oval Office with you, and as a fellow Wingfoot member too, I've always it's always a pleasure to be with you, and I got to tell you, you're the best president that I've ever seen, and we're so proud of you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad I asked him to say Would you like to say something about the great job you're doing? Right here. Anybody back here? These are all incredible people that everybody looks, in the business world, everybody looks up to them. Please, go ahead. Would you like to say something?
Thank you for your
Go ahead,
leadership.
please.
Thank you for your leadership.
I love that. I love this. I didn't ask him.
I'm running a tech business for
Thank you,
21
Mr.
years. We build products on AI and machine learning. Thank you, Mr. President.
And it's going great, right?
Yes.
Good. How about over here? We have some very unshy people. Harmeet, how about saying a few words?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's a tremendous honor to have supported you 3 times and been part of your administration. And on this day of Diwali, I say on behalf of the United States Department of Justice that the message of the triumph of good over evil and knowledge over ignorance and justice over injustice is something that your administration is personifying, and it's a tremendous honor to be part of it. And thank you very much for including us here today.
Good, and you're at the DOJ and doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, sir.
That's great. She's doing a good job, Cash, right?
She's doing outstanding.
And Tulsi, we know, is doing a good job. What do you think, Tulsi?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. You are doing today what you have done throughout your time in service, is bringing people together from all across the country and all different backgrounds. And this day is, of course, very special to so many of us because while it is the celebration of hope and light and renewal, we can never forget that the source of that hope, light, and renewal comes from God's love for every single one of us. And so today we celebrate God, His love, and the blessings that He has shared with all of us.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you all very much. Anybody like to say anything? Would you like to say something, please?
Mr. President, let me start first of all by expressing a deep sense of gratitude for opening up White House, Oval Office, your home, to mark Diwali's Festival of Lights, which is celebrated by over 1/5 of humanity. And as Cass said, you are showcasing the strength of diversity through this celebration. So it's truly a great honor, and thank you very much for that. May I also, on behalf of my Prime Minister and my own behalf, wish you and your loved one a very, very happy Diwali greetings, particularly to over 5 million strong Indian diaspora in the US.
Right.
And may I close by making a wish, which is normally we do for Diwali. We wish that the light of Diwali continues to shine on your success and on the strength of India-US partnership.
Thank you very much. Spoke to him today. He's doing well. And your country is doing very well. You know that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So we're supposed to light something, but I thought maybe because he's had such an outstanding year, I'm going to ask Arvind to maybe do the honors. Can you handle it for me? I think you might do a better job than me. So if you could take care of that, it'd be great. He's done a good job. I didn't know you were supposed to do that. I'm glad I asked him to do it.
Would you like to come to the light?
Yeah, if you want. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.
Mr. President, the meeting with Vladimir Putin is canceled or put on hold. Do you know what happened there, and does that affect your decision whether or not to send tomahawks?
No, I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, great peace deals. They're all peace deals, agreements, solid agreements, every one of them. But this one, and I said, go to the line of battle, the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home, and everybody take some time off because you got 2 countries that are killing each other. You got 2 countries that are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week, So we'll see what happens. It's we haven't made a determination.
Mr. President, I'm asking the Justice Department to look into the federal investigations into you and look for compensation, and how much are you asking for?
Who's asking for what?
Are you asking the Justice Department to pay
Whose
you compensation
Whose
for
compensation?
your federal investigations into you? Are you asking them to pay compensation, and how much?
Into me? I don't get any compensation. I do it for nothing. I gave up my salary. Into me?
No, it's going to be the Justice Department. Are you asking them to pay you compensation for the federal investigations that happened to you? And how much are you asking
well,
for?
I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that. Probably, yeah, that's true. That's very interesting. No, I get no salary. I gave up my salary. It's a good salary. Not as much as these guys make, but that's okay. It's a lot of money. And I don't, as you know, I didn't take it in the first 4 years. I'm not taking it in these 4 years either. But as far as all of the litigation and everything that's been involved, yeah, they probably owe me a lot of money. But if I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House while we restore the White House. And we're doing a great job in the White House. As you know, the ballroom is under construction. It's going to be, they've been trying to get it for 150 years, and it's really, I think it's going to be fantastic. But we'll see what happens. I mean, we have numerous cases having to do with the fraud of the election, the 2020 election, and because of everything that we found out, I guess they owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for really, I think it's got to be handled in a proper way. If it's not handled in a proper way, we don't want it to happen again. We can never let what happened in the 2020 election happen again. We just can't let that happen. And so the way we go, I know Keisha's working on it, everybody's working on it, and certainly Tulsi's working on it. We can't let that happen again to our country. Look at what's happened where you have millions of people being allowed to come into our country, all because of a crooked election, where they come from prisons, they come from jails, they come from mental institutions and insane asylums, they're drug dealers. The people that they've allowed to come into our country, we cleaned them out in Washington, D.C. We have a very safe capital right now. We have a capital that's as safe as it can be. But I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask the lawyers about that.
Mr. President, what did you hear from the Kremlin, Mr. President? A comment and a question, please, for you. First of all, you have just 1 billion plus hearts around the globe, including in India, by celebrating the Diwali in the White House right here. And my other comment says, Mr. President,
I like his question all right.
In February, you and the White House staff gave a warm welcome to the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi.
Right.
And after that, I decided to make a short trip to India for you, how popular you are in India. And I went there in a holiest also festival there. Millions of people were there. And also Prime Minister Narendra Modi was addressing a media event, 5,000 people. I was one of them there listening to him. And when I went to several states in India, what I found out, Mr. President, 3 people are most popular there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Donald Trump, Mr. Kash Patel, and also with the surprise, our White House Press Secretary, Carolyn Levitt.
She's doing good, right? She is doing good. And
Mr. President, my question is, you had a great relationship with the people of India when you visited India, and with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and also with the Indian American community. Where do we stand today, all those relations from 45 to 47 in the future, Mr. President? Please, thank you.
Well, we stand great, and the people of India, I love the people of India, and we're working on some great deals between our countries. I spoke to Prime Minister Modi today, as I mentioned before, and we just have a very good relationship. And he's not going to buy much oil from Russia. He wants to see that war end as much as I do. He wants to see the war end with Russia, Ukraine. And as you know, they're not going to be buying too much oil. So they've cut it way back, and they're continuing to cut it way back.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
an appeals court recently ruled that you can send the National Guard into Portland, Oregon. Do you feel unfettered to send the National Guard into whatever city you want now?
Well, I guess that was the decision. I can send the National Guard if I see problems. I looked at Portland over the weekend. The place is burning down, just burning down. We weren't there. We didn't spend much time there because we were waiting for that decision. But the court probably maybe that influenced the court. But you look at a place like Portland, it's ridiculous when they say that there's no problem. The place was on fire over the weekend. But we won the case in Court of Appeals. I think it was the Ninth Circuit, so that's pretty good. And a very strong opinion that we have the right to use the National Guard. You would think that would be common sense. We have the right to use the National Guard to put out trouble. Well, that's how I got elected. One of the reasons I got elected.
Mr. President, what changed your mind after talking to Vladimir Putin between then and now? Why did you think that a Budapest summit might be wasted time?
Well, I didn't say anything. I didn't say it would, and you never know what's going to happen. But a lot of things are happening on that front, on the war front with Ukraine and Russia. And we'll be notifying you over the next 2 days as to what we're doing.
Did you hear something?
A lot of things are happening.
Did you hear something?
I think we're going to get it solved. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is Putin asking for? Do you still see a chance for a ceasefire? And what is Putin asking for?
I do. It's a vicious war. It doesn't really affect us. We sell equipment to them. We sell equipment to NATO. And NATO gives it to Ukraine, but we don't pay anything anymore. Biden spent $350 billion. The war would have never happened if I were president. Would have never, not even a million years. And Putin knows that too. Would have never happened. But it did happen, and I came in, and I have to see if I can put it out. But it doesn't affect us because we're not losing soldiers there. Although, when I first came in, that could have ended up, it's not going to happen, but it could have ended up in World War III. That was really out of control. So now it's they're shooting and they're killing people, and I think Putin wants it to end, and I think Zelensky wants it to end, and I think it's going to end.
What is that he reached out to you about meeting on the government shutdown? Will you meet with him before you leave for Asia on Friday?
Well, I will actually. I'd love to meet with them. I just want them to open up the country first. The country is so hot right now, and they've never voted against, continuation. They've never voted against. They've never done that. They're doing this because they have Trump derangement syndrome. But I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them, but. I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open. The people want to go back to work. They want to be served. They need the services of some people, and a lot of people need the money, the payroll. So I'll do it as soon as they open up the country. I'd like to meet.
So you won't meet with them, just to be clear, you won't meet with them until the government's open.
The government has to be open, yeah. You know how long it would take for them to do that? Just say, okay, government's open, that's it. There is nothing. They're not negotiating. What they're doing is saying they lost the negotiation when we got the great big beautiful deal done. They lost that negotiation. Now they're saying, well, we want to get some of the things we lost. But the problem is the things they lost are very bad for our country. We don't want to have people come over from all over the world, from prisons and all, and have them have their health care paid for. We want to take care of people that are American citizens and all. So they want $1.5 trillion of money to be wasted and jeopardize the health care of other people. We're not going to do that. So I would love to meet with them. We want the country open first.
Mr. President, a new poll shows that if Curtis Sliwa dropped out of the New York mayoral race, then Andrew Cuomo would only trail Mondani by 4 points. Would you call Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race so that can happen?
Well, I looked at the polls, and looks like we're going to have a communist as the mayor of New York. It'll be very interesting. But here's the good news. He's got to go through the White House. Everything goes through the White House, at least this White House it does. And we'll have to see what happens. But if he dropped out, he's not going to win. And not looking too good for Cuomo either. But maybe, I don't know, if he dropped out, maybe Cuomo would have a little bit of a chance, but not much. because it looks like the lead is, it's not a great lead, but it's big enough that he should be able to win. So, I don't know that I want to get involved. It's really a question of, would I rather have a Democrat or a communist? And I would rather have a Democrat than a communist.
Will you meet with Mamdani if he wins?
Yeah, I'll speak to him. I think I'd have an obligation to speak to him, but I love New York. I've always loved New York. I just can't believe a thing like this is happening. I left New York, and we had a mayor, de Blasio, who was a disaster, but when I left, it was sort of before he could really take hold. And boy, New York was a hot city, and now it's sad to see what's happening, frankly. And with the communists in charge, look, you just go back 1,000 years. I mean, it's been done many times, 1,000 years. It's never worked once, so it's not going to work now either.
On your ballroom, Mr. President, you're building your ballroom right now. They're also building the Obama Presidential Library. I'm wondering if you've seen. Have you seen pictures of the architecture, and what do you think of it?
It's not too pretty. No, but it's closed. It's stopped. They ran out of money. I mean, he's building a library / museum. You call it some museum, and usually they call it library and museum. That's the official name. And they're stuck. And he wanted only women and DEI to build it. Well, that's what they got. And the construction workers are standing out there and saying, we want to be able to build it. You have I built a great building in Chicago, as you know, a big, beautiful building, one of the tallest buildings in the country. And we got it built very quickly, very well. And we used the construction workers of Chicago. They're great workers. They're great construction people. And I suggested he get them involved. But they're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget. And I think it stopped. I'm reading these terrible stories. But that's the way our country was run under President Obama, too. Nobody knew it.
Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Russia remains China's top crude oil supplier in September. Are you considering tariffs on China?
Well, I mean, you read the same papers as I do, but I don't have to read the papers because I'm the one. Right now, as of November 1st, China will have about 155% tariff put on it. And I don't think it's sustainable for them, so I want to be nice to China. But China's been very rough with us over the years because we had presidents that weren't smart from a business standpoint. Some were good politicians, some weren't even good politicians, but they allowed China to take advantage of us and every other country to take advantage of us. If you see, I made a deal with the European Union, I made a deal with Japan, with South Korea, made a lot of these deals that are great deals, and I was able to do it. It's really national security. I was able to do it because of tariffs. And we're getting hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars paid into the United States. We're a very rich country again. We'll start paying off debt. We'll do a lot of things. We'll probably make a distribution out of some of the tariff money. I think we're going to make a distribution over the next fairly short period of time to the people because we took in so much money from the tariffs. From just European Union, $650 billion. Japan, $550 billion. South Korea, $350 billion. That's even a lot of money for you guys, right? That's not bad, right? But no, we're taking in a lot of money, and it keeps people like this here because that's why they're coming in. I mean, you wouldn't be, I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but generally they won't be coming in if it weren't for tariffs. They come in here and they don't have to pay the tariff. If they do it outside, they pay a lot of money, a lot of tariffs. The money comes to us. And in order not to pay the tariff, they come and they build here. That's why we have more plants under construction than we've ever had in the history of our country. And you wouldn't think it's complicated, but you would have thought somebody would have done this a long time ago, sitting in this beautiful seat behind what's called the Resolute desk. You know that, right? This is very famous. This is even more famous than any of your desks. But your desks are very good.
Can I just follow up on her question to you? Because the New York Times is reporting that your legal team is seeking $230 million from your own Justice Department now in response to the investigations into you. Is that something you want your legal team to do?
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I would give it to charity, any money. But look, what they did, they rigged the election. And as you know, we had, in one case, 60 Minutes had to pay us a lot of money. George Slobodanopoulos had to pay us a lot of money, and they already paid. They paid me a lot of money because what they did was wrong. And when somebody does what's wrong, now with the country, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And that decision would have to go across my desk, and it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. In other words, did you ever have one of those cases where you have to decide how much you're paying yourself in damages? But I was damaged very greatly, and any money that I would get, I would give to charity.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is the Democrat Party now more Zohran Mamdani's party than it is even Leader Schumer's or Leader
Probably
Jeffries?
is, yeah. Maybe he'll run for president in 4 years. You have a communist president. That would be interesting, right? I don't see it happening. I've always said you will never see, and I always talked about socialism, and you will never see a socialist so-and-so. And I was right. I say it in speeches. We will not have socialism in our country. And I was right. Communism, yes, but socialism. In other words, they skipped socialism and they went down to communism. No, he's a communist, and he's going to be maybe the mayor of New York. I don't know. Maybe, polls are wrong, but these polls seem to be pretty consistent. But he would be, I would say he would be the leader of the party. It's not Schumer. Schumer's shot. He's shot. This poor guy, I feel sorry for him. I've known him for a long time, but I think he's mentally gone. He's been beat up by young, radical lunatics. And I think Chuck Schumer he's gonzo. I really do. I think he's probably not going to run. It shows that he's losing in every poll. Now, this is hard. He wants to meet with me. It's sort of hard to meet with a guy after I make a statement like that, but I'm just giving the facts. I think Chuck is probably finished. I know some people, Democrats, that would be good. Some good politicians and some, reasonable people. But I understand that they would not have a chance of, getting even the concept of holding the torch. They're not going to get it. But they have some people that I really believe they're low IQ people. They're stupid people. And they seem to be leading the party. So we'll see what happens. Look, the Republicans are strong. We have great leadership. We're very strong in every way. And we're going to keep it that way. But we are really a strong party. Our party's grown magnificently. We've gotten away. Look at all the union votes I got. Nobody thought that was ever possible. Look at the election where I won I won everything. I won all 7 swing states. If you win 3 or 4 swing states, you're doing great. I won all 7 by a lot. And I think the best thing when you look at districts, 2,700 versus 525. That's big. That's why the map shows all red. So we won in a tremendous landslide, and that's because people like our policy. I guess they like me, but they like my policies. Strong borders, good education, low taxes. In the great big beautiful bill, we got the biggest tax cut in history. Not only no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, we got the biggest tax cut in the history of our country in the bill that we just approved. And I think people see that and they like it, and that's why we're doing well, but they are not. They do not have leadership. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna find it. Okay, that's a good random still to leave it on. I am just a random YouTuber, a U.S. Navy veteran that watches the news 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. I got on a little bit earlier so that when my family arrives, because I got family coming over, I can spend time with them like a normal person. I thank you guys for being in chat. This is the part of the video where I normally would spend a lot more time talking with people in chat, but I'm just going to see what's going on for a few minutes. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. I am done watching the news for now. I normally try to have a mix of Republican and Democrat and Republican and whatever type of, other things that are going on in the world. But Trump happened to be live when I started this live. So I had the first video up and I just rolled right into this one. It was just a lot. Anyway, thank you, Pressy. Thank you, Yeah, thank you, Greek Chef. I appreciate you guys, Tree Crew. Thank you. Yeah, I'm done watching the news, not trying to troll people or anything, but I am done watching the news. So you could swipe if you are waiting for Trump to start talking again. I will be back on, possibly, or maybe not. It all depends on how the day goes, but I plan to be on at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, like there was like, I think there's Eric Adams and there's a lot of other Democratic things going on too. Like I believe Hakeem Jeffries came out. I know there's going to be a bunch of Grindr comments when Mike Johnson comes out and talks. That's another video. I feel like JD Vance was on too. So I will be watching those videos later if I come on at 10, most likely. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, whatever. Lilani. Sorry. I'm fucking stuttering. Soul of my highlight. Terry Vinning, I hope you're having a good day. Mafro. All you guys, I hope you guys keep on having a good day. So whatever. I appreciate you all. Yeah, I know JD Vance. People talk about couches. I'm trying to remember what Hakeem Jeffries evolved to, like his memes. Thank you, Gary100. Is it because Trump's standing in front of that Diwali or whatever it's called thing? It's pretty creepy. There's some good images that could be taken out of it. You're going to probably see a lot of like images done by other YouTubers that actually make political based videos. They're going to make this look crazy. But yeah, I appreciate everybody. He's not staying up for me. Everybody have a great yeah. Either way, if I don't get on tonight, I keep that schedule where I'm on at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I believe I'll be on later because there's a lot more news that happened. It just happened that Trump got on live when I was already on live. Anyway. Try not to be ignorant to other cultures. I appreciate everybody for being in chat. That was very entertaining. Okay. Anyway, it's getting boring now. Can you change your name? Unhinged, blah, blah. Okay, so you guys are going back and forth with each other. Thank you, Solo Highlight. Can all MAGA admit it that the bunkers? Pressy, Valentine, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for not blocking a whole bunch of people. I know that weird fucking account came through and started blocking people in the beginning. I got that shit out of there. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go. Not going to waste any more of your time. I'll be on later. 6 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys. Yeah, I don't know nothing. I just know that some of those Hindu cultures, I seen a Vice documentary like 5 years ago. It's coming into like things now where it's like they use like cow manure for microbiotics, and that's wild. Anyway, have a good one, guys. If you're celebrating stuff, do what you do, boo. But I gotta go. I hope you guys have a good one. U.S. Navy veteran, random YouTuber. I watch the fucking news, and you guys go off and chat. I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Thank you, all the mods. Sage. What the hell? I already did it. Heem Brooks, everybody. What is it? Am I missing the mods? Me. Longbong P. Norton. I felt like an asshole before I said bye to the mods and shit. Sage, everybody. Am I missing? Somebody say what up? Longbong, yo. Valentine, I got you guys. I hope you all have a good one. Terry, everybody.